Book 6 begins with this most extraordinary passage on Narad,
Hmm.
and it describes his descent from the heavens and how he is singing and how his song changes when he nears the earth.
Okay.
So it can begin.
Yeah. So book 6, the book of fate, Canto 1, the word of fate. In silent bounds, bordering the mortal's plain, crossing a wide expanse of brilliant peace, Narad, the heavenly sage from paradise, came chanting through the large and lustrous air. Attracted by the golden summer earth that lay beneath him like a glowing bowl, tilted upon a table of the gods, turning as if moved round by an unseen hand to catch the warmth and blaze of a small sun, he passed from the immortals' happy paths to a world of toil and quest and grief and hope, to these rooms of the seesaw game of death with life.
So he's descending from the realms of the immortals,
Mm-hmm.
and Narad is known as number one, the divine singer,
Okay.
and number two, as the connection between the supramental and the earth,
Okay.
the highest realms and the earth. So now he is descending, and he's called the heavenly sage from paradise.
Mm-hmm.
And he's chanting because he's the divine singer. He's chanting through this air as he descends, and he's very attracted by the golden summer earth.
Hmm.
And it lays beneath him like a glowing bowl. He sees the earth as the astronauts have seen it from space.
Hmm.
And the earth is turning around as if moved by an unseen hand to catch the warmth and blaze of a small sun. You see how
Hmm.
the perspective changes so much when we see how the divine looks at earth.
Hmm.
A small sun, how a sun is a small sun.
Yeah.
And earth is like turning around as if by an unseen hand to catch that
Yeah.
warmth and that
Of the
blaze
sun.
of the sun, yes. And he passes from the immortals' paths, and now he's entering earth, which is a world of toil and quest and grief, but hope also.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
he passes into these rooms of the seesaw game of death with life. So he
Hmm.
sure tells us that the game of death with life is like being on a seesaw, up and down, up and
Hmm.
down.
Hmm.
And now he
And
carries on.
toil means struggle.
Toil is struggle, yeah. Toil is hard labor,
Hard labor. Okay.
yeah.
Got it. Across an intangible border of soul space, he passed from mind into material things, amid the inventions of the inconscient self and the workings of a blind somnambulist force. Below him, circling, burned the myriad. How do we pronounce
Myriad,
that?
myriad, myriad,
Myriad,
myriad,
myriad, myriad.
myriad
We've come
sun.
across this word before also. At that time also I had this confusion. Myriad,
Well,
myriad.
you're getting Your vocabulary is increasing all the time
Yes, yes.
because of Savitri.
Below
Okay.
him, below him, circling burned the myriad suns.
No,
He bore
myriad.
the myriad. Yeah, like Miriam, myriad,
Like Miriam, yes, but myriad. Very good.
myriad.
Myriad.
Yeah. Below him, circling burned the myriad suns. He bore the ripples of the etheric sea. A primal air brought the first joy of touch. A secret spirit drew its mighty breath, contracting and expanding this huge world in its formidable circuit through the
No,
void.
circuit. Circuit.
Circuit,
Circuit.
circuit,
Circuit.
circuit. Okay. In its formidable circuit through the void, the secret might be the creative fire,
The
displayed
secret
its
might of. The secret
might
might
of,
of.
yeah, the
The
secret
secret
might
might.
of,
The creative fire.
the secret might of the creative fire displayed its triple power to build and form, its infinitesimal wave sparks weaving dance, its nebulous units grounding shape and mass, magic foundation and pattern of a world, its radiance bursting into the light of stars. He felt a sap of life, a sap of death, into solid matter's dense communion, plunging and its obscure oneness of forms he shared with a dumb spirit identity. Oh,
So
quite a long
yes,
paragraph.
long sentence. Yes, very long
Long
sentence.
sentence, yeah.
So, but Sri Aurobindo is describing the whole creation of this earth.
Hmm.
So he says, across this border of soul space, you can't touch it; it's intangible. You
Yeah.
can't measure it. Huh? He
Hmm.
passes from mind into material things,
Hmm.
and passes into the inventions of a self that is not conscious, the
Hmm.
unconscious self, and even
Hmm.
the workings of a blind somnambulist force, a sleepwalking force.
Hmm.
Somnambulist is a sleepwalker.
Okay.
Um, but he sees below him, because he's still up in the heavens, he's still
Hmm.
descending. He
Hmm.
sees these suns burning. He bears the ripples of this etheric sea because, you know, as the astronauts go from weightlessness back into
Hmm.
gravity, they experience some of this.
Hmm.
And this primal air that he feels, in other words, our air of the earth, brings
Yeah.
first joy of touch.
Huh.
So he experiences first this joy of touch from the air.
Huh.
And then he says that a secret spirit drew its mighty breath, contracting and expanding this huge world in its formidable circuit through the void. So this
Hmm.
huge world is spinning through the void, through the emptiness. And
Hmm.
he says then that this secret creative fire is displaying its triple power to build
Hmm.
and form on the earth, which is a very, very beautiful and very scientific few lines coming next. He says, in that triple power, it's infinitesimal wave sparks weaving dance. So these wave sparks that are building form and building the world, its nebulous, unclear units that ground shape and mass are
Hmm.
all the magic foundation and the pattern of our world. And then he says, its radiance bursting into the light of stars, the radiance of the earth that bursts into the light of stars. And in that radiance, he feels a sap of life and a sap of death. He has never known death before because he's an immortal.
Hmm.
So now he feels it in the earth. He feels all of these wave sparks. He feels this nebulous units that ground, that make possible shape and mass, and they are
Hmm.
the magic foundation and the pattern of our world. Because he feels then solid matter and its dense communion that plunges into its obscure oneness of forms. So matter becoming forms, he feels, and he shares that with a dumb spirit identity because we still are not conscious of how the world has been created, how
Hmm.
how how life is created. Yeah, we
Hmm.
know we know that it takes place between a male and a female, and we
Huh.
know there's uh, some physical aspect to it in the
Hmm.
connection sperm with
Huh.
eggs, but we don't know how life takes place. We don't know how
Okay.
a soul enters birth.
Hmm.
We're, we're ignorant of all of these things. But then he begins to tell us a lot more,
Hmm.
and you can begin.
He beheld the cosmic being at his task. His eyes measured the spaces, gauged the depths. His inner gaze, the movements of the soul. He saw the eternal labor of the gods and looked upon the life of beasts and men.
So he's now seeing the Lord, the divine, working at his task on the earth.
Hmm.
And his eyes are looking at the different spaces and the different depths, but his inner gaze, because he's the divine uh, representative from the heavens, the divine singer, his
Hmm.
inner gaze sees the movements of the soul.
Hmm.
And he sees this eternal work of the gods. And
Hmm.
he looks upon the life of men and beasts. He sees the animals also.
Hmm.
How beautifully it's written. Hmm?
Yeah.
And now he's going to change his song because now he's on earth and he's no
Yeah.
longer singing the beautiful songs that he sang when he chanted through the large and lustrous air. Now he's going to change his song because he's on earth.
A change now fell upon the singer's mood. A rapture and a pathos moved his voice. He sang no more of light that never wanes, and oneness and pure everlasting bliss. He sang no more the deathless heart of love. His chant was a hymn of ignorance and fate. He sang the name of Vishnu and the birth and joy and passion of the mystic world, and how the stars were made and life began, and the mute regions stirred with the throb of a soul.
Because he's the divine, he can see that that life is a hymn of ignorance and fate. And he sings of that. He doesn't sing anymore of love and the deathless heart of love. And he doesn't sing anymore of oneness and pure everlasting bliss.
Okay.
He doesn't sing anymore of light that never wanes, because here the light comes and goes, because we're not able to hold it. He even sings about the joy and passion of the mystic world, and he sings the name of Vishnu and the birth of this world, and the birth of this world in joy and in passion. And he even sings about how the stars were made and how life began. And even these silent regions begin to stir with the throb of a soul. Oh. And then he sings more.
Shall I go on, or?
You could go on a little bit. We have a few minutes. Yeah. Let's go on a little longer.
Yeah. He sang the inconscient and its secret self, its power omnipotent, knowing not what it does, all shaping without will or thought or sense, its blind, unerring, occult mystery, and darkness yearning towards the eternal light, and love that broods within the dim abyss and waits the answer of a human heart, and death that climbs to immortality.
And that's a good place to stop for today. So he is singing now of the inconscient. The inconscient contains all the consciousness, but it's unaware of itself. Therefore, it is inconscient. And as a secret self, which is creative, and it's even omnipotent, all powerful, but it doesn't know what it does. It's not fully aware of what it does. It even shapes everything, but is without will or without thought or without sense. And it shapes this occult mystery unerringly, without a mistake. And then he sings of darkness that yearns towards the eternal light. And he sings of love that broods within the dim abyss and waits the answer of the human heart. And he even sings of death that climbs to immortality. So Aurobindo is giving us here the whole picture of the earth and how it is shaped, and about the suns and about the light and about the inconscient and about love and the labor of the gods. There's so much in these lines of just 2 pages. It's amazing.
Yeah.
How much, but it is most interesting because if Narad did not have this connection with the earth and the heaven, then there wouldn't be the possibility of our growing into a divine life. He brings down this connection. And of course, Aswapati does too when he calls down Savitri. And Savitri is the one who finally resolves everything. But here, Narad, he's a friend of humanity, and he loves humanity, and so he's come down to visit the king and the queen in their palace in Madra. And so on Monday we will learn much more about when he visits them and what he sings to them about it, because he sings to them also. He's a singer. He's the divine singer. So he's going to sing to them. And It is so beautiful. So let us keep this in our hearts. We'll keep Narad in our hearts, and we'll see what
Yes.
he does next. Eh? Because
Narad,
soon
this makes me
Savitri will come
curious.
also. Yes.
This
It
makes
what?
me curious that what in you made you yearn for the name
I didn't yearn for the name.
where you
I
ah so
I
it was given
I
to you.
I actually corresponded because I saw Huta almost every day. We were very
Okay.
close friends, and
Uh-huh.
and she said, "Don't you want an Indian name?" And I said,
Okay.
"No, no, I don't want an Indian name." I said, "The only name that even ever appealed to me would be Narad, and I am totally unworthy of that name." And so I believe she talked to Mother, and Mother
Okay.
said, "Oh, for that name, one must wait." And
Okay.
that was in 1971 or something like that, maybe early
Okay.
72. And then
Okay.
my birthday came in late July 1972, and Mother called
Okay.
me. So this was the last time I saw her personally.
Wow.
I walked into her room, and she, they say Mother was weak and ill. She meets me with this huge bone fat. What power was in that voice? And that's a year before she leaves her body.
Mm.
And so I go up to her
Mm.
and I put my head on her feet, and then I lift my head up, and she hands me the card. And it was a time when we were reading every quarter in the bulletin how Mother was working on her body, on
Mm.
transforming her body. So
Mm.
I didn't want to take up her time. So
Mm.
I put my head on her feet, and I was going to get up to leave, and Mother says to me, "Look at your card." So then I had to open my card, and there was the old name Richard and the new name Narad in her own hand,
Wow.
in her handwriting. That was
Wow.
her birthday gift to me on July 29th, 1972.
Wow.
And she left 14 months later.
Mm. Wow.
So much she has given me. So when people ask me, what do you feel about it? I say, it's the greatest blessing I could ever have been given, and at the same time, the greatest challenge.
Mm. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
good reading today, very good reading.
Yes, I also felt so. I was quite,
Yeah,
it was quite in a flow.
yeah.
And quite a bit we covered today.
You what?
We covered quite a bit.
Yes, we did. And it's not difficult to read, and you got a couple of new words also.
Yes, yes.
Wonderful. Okay, my love to you.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you. Namaste, Narad. Thank you so much.